Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Housing Committee, Tuesday, September 24th at 5 p.m. This meeting will be replayed via Channel 8 on high definition, Channel 1072. It may also be accessed via the Government Access Channel live video on demand. Archives on the Town of Barnstable website. This meeting is now called to order. Introduction of our committee members. My name is Hilda Hay, I'm the chair. We'll go.
Evan Goddard.
Don Lyons.
I'm Corey Pacheco, Senior Planner for Planning and Development.
And I'm Jillian Douglas. I'm the administrator for the trust, the town's trust. So we are staff at this end, your committee members.
Michael Princey, representing the applicants.
I'm the applicant, Stu Bornstein, and that's
Teresa Copeland, assistant to Stu Bornstein.
Okay. And so, just gonna ask, is there anyone recording? This meeting of Barnstable Housing Committee is being recorded and broadcast on the town Barnstable Government Access Channel in accordance with Massachusetts General's Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20. The chair must inquire whether anyone else is recording this meeting, and if so, to please make their presence known. Anybody else recording the meeting so far? Nobody. Okay, we're going to start with public comments. Informal review of the regulatory agreement, draft regulation agreement application for dockside residents Stuart Bornstein, DB Short String Properties LLC, inclusionary units in lieu of provision requested for Housing Committee Advisory Opinion. Chapter 9 of Affordable Housing, Section 6. Also, we're going to do updates from the Planning and Development Department, updates from Barnstable Housing Growth and Development Trust Fund Board, update on local action units, 319 Main Street, INS, Cape Cod Times 1600 Falmouth Road, Centerville, Bell Tower Mall, 850 Falmouth Road, INS, 850 Residency, subsidized housing inventory update. Update on council subcommittees, and we're going to do the approval of minutes. The next committee meeting date will be announced later. Item not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance of the meeting. And we'll go back and we'll start with the informal review of the regulatory agreement here.
And I think you could recognize Stuart if you wanted to begin, or did you want any sort of briefing?
So I can give a brief overview of what's going on tonight. So the applicant currently has a commitment to provide the town with 10 inclusionary units, and they're spread across 3 developments. And the applicant is proposing a transfer of ownership of a parcel located at Pleasant Hill Road, which contains 2.74 acres of land. And so as part of Chapter 9, the Affordable Housing Ordinance requires developers of new residential developments over 10 units to dedicate 10% of the units as permanently deed restricted units, affordable to individuals or households earning less than 65% of the area median income. The ordinance requires that units be included within the project and that the affordable units be indistinguishable from market rate. So Chapter 9 allows an option for an alternative means of compliance. Section 9(6)(a) states that a developer may apply for a regulatory agreement in lieu of applying the specific provisions of the ordinance that require units to be provided on site within the development. So the applicant is proposing this particular option as an informal request for you guys to provide any sort of feedback or take it under advisement. This is informal. Eventually, the applicant will provide a formal application for a regulatory agreement that will require your input, then will go to the planning board. The planning board will then either approve or deny the regulatory agreement. If it's approved, it'll then go to town council for town council approval. So you're the first step in a three-step process, essentially. So I'll give the floor to the applicant.
My name is Michael Princey, and I represent the applicants plural, all of whom Mr. Bornstein either owns or controls or acts as the agent for. The three entities are listed on the Exhibit A, and I've laid out that where each one is, what zones they're in, what their commitments are. To cut to the chase, the three projects, one of which is totally built, that's the Cape Cod Times project, and that's already under rental agreements with the necessary number of inclusionary units. Almost completed is the 310 Barnstable Road project, which hopefully will be occupied fairly soon. And the third one is got a steam shovel over there, so ground is soon to be broken at the dockside. The total number of units that Mr. Bornstein has committed to under the bylaw are 10 units. We have worked with Jim at planning on an approach, and we considered filing 3 separate applications, and he advised that no, you can file one regulatory agreement covering all 3 projects, have it all done at one time, have it all considered at one time. Our original discussions with planning was the possibility of Mr. Bornstein, and in the past, by the way, applicants have either provided substitute units, have provided cash to the town to go out and acquire units or begin development of units. Or in this particular case, the original discussions were the possibility of Mr. Bornstein taking a piece of parcel that he owns outright and conveying it to the town to allow the town to develop it. And that's one of the attachments to the application. Mine is in green, yours were all copied. And that is a concept plan, B1, that Dan Ojala has prepared. Now understand that this is just a rough sketch. All of the details are not there in terms of numbers and layouts and all, but Dan has run certain numbers. He's conducted a zoning summary. The property is located over on Stevens Street in Hyannis, so it's in a downtown area. And Dan has projected, with notwithstanding some lowland and potential wetlands, that the applicant, as the owner, could construct 2 buildings containing 40 units. And the reason why this concept is important, it's because of the idea that we came up with. We talked a little bit with Jim about the ability of the town to develop and put RFPs out, and conveying to the town is a pretty cumbersome legal activity. In addition to that, you can throw out an RFP and it may or may not be responded to in a positive way. So we approached Housing Assistance Corporation, for whom I've been affiliated for over 47 years now, and suggested the concept where they are in the business of developing affordable housing, that they would partner with us on this project and this proposal. And so the proposal is that we are allowed to take back our 10 units, inclusionary units. Housing Assistance Corporation would agree to take title to this parcel, and in accordance with their articles of organization and goal to develop affordable housing, that they would work this project, not initially, but over a period of time. Initially, Housing Assistance Corporation would provide the town with 10 units that would be considered inclusionary housing, And those units would be dedicated to the inclusionary housing to cover the 10 units that Mr. Bornstein is asking to be taken off his 3 sites. Now, the proposal is not in final form in terms of the application. I will tell you, I spoke with Housing Assistance Council today, and both Elisa and Council apologized that they're both going in 10 different directions and they could not be here. Elisa needs to have her staff vet this completely. Dan has laid out the proposal, but she has a development staff in-house at Housing Assistance, and it's gonna take her a little bit of time to look at this more closely, verify some of the numbers that we provided to her. One of the things that Jim talked about with us when we were talking about the town putting it out for an RFP was Jim wanted to make sure that it was tied into town sewer and tied into town water, so there'd be no issue of septics or wells, especially because of the wetlands and the confinement of the land. So the commitment from the applicant is that there would be absolute assurances that town water and town sewer would be available. Elisa wouldn't agree to take title to it. Once she vets it, she'll see that we have made that commitment, and she will see that it does exist. So she wouldn't take it otherwise. Housing Assistance wouldn't take it otherwise. So what would happen is, once Housing Assistance vets the project for them and confirms that they're willing to take title and develop it, they would take 10 units that are not part of the inclusionary zoning right now, and they would commit those units to inclusionary zoning to the town for a period of time. And that period of time would allow them to build out this development. And I talked with Brian today, Brian Bond, her counsel, and he said to me that they've looked at it generally, again, they have to get more specifics, but they've looked at it generally, and they feel that they can build out 10 units within 3 to 5 years. Now, in those 3 to 5 years, the 10 units that they gave to the town would be in place, affordable housing, and would be dedicated to the inclusionary housing numbers to cover the 10 that are being given back to Mr. Bornstein. Once she gets those 10 units developed over the 3 to 5 years, she would take those units back, and then she would continue to develop this parcel over a longer period of time. And given their commitment to affordable housing, we, I think, can feel pretty comfortable that majority of these units are going to be dedicated to affordable over time. That's generally what it's a pretty creative approach, I think, and it's one that we've worked back and forth with. But what it does is it takes the town out of the development business, which sometimes is more difficult. It puts the development of this parcel, I mean, again, in these regulatory agreements and in these waivers that are requested, as I said, very often there are gifts or a commitment of money back to the town or to an affordable development, or the commitment of land. Again, because Mr. Bornstein has this land and is willing to convey it, to dedicate it to the development of affordable housing, the creative aspect of it is that we're going to be involved with an intermediary, Housing Assistance Corporation. Now, how is the town protected? The town's protected because Housing Assistance Corporation will immediately dedicate the 10 units. So the town will have those 10 units. If something happens and they never develop this parcel, the town has its 10 inclusionary units substituted for the 10 that Mr. Bornstein is asking you to waive.
There's a revocation to the town if the parcels are never developed.
If they're never developed, they become inclusionary ad infinitum,
Okay.
in perpetuity. So it will be written up that way. We haven't obviously written up any regulatory agreement. But if Housing Assistance does not develop units to dedicate to the inclusionary numbers, to take back their 10 units are dedicated in perpetuity.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the sewer engineers have confirmed sewer's available down there. We already got the cost to do it. Town water runs right in front, is already there. So the question of no sewer isn't an issue, no water isn't an issue. And talking to Lisa, because, as you know, they're developing the corner piece and a few other things, they want to get on this as soon as they can, but to cover their bets, they want to go out 2 or 3 years, when, excuse me, it may be 8 months, a year, we don't know. But the 2 to 3, they feel very comfortable telling the town that, so.
Just to be clear, in talking to Brian today, the attorney, given all of the activities that are going on, Lisa would feel more comfortable with a 3 to 5 year window. Okay, so it would be written up as 3 to 5 years, and that's what I was told by her counsel. So when we originally discussed it, she had hoped to be able to do something within 2 to 3 years, but the plate keeps getting full over there, and staff does not increase, so.
Just so I'm clear, because my hearing aids are at home being charged. If Hack doesn't develop the properties,
That's right.
then the inclusionary, we're looking at 5 years from now, and people need affordable housing today. Is there any way to speed that up? Hack's a great situation, but.
Well, that's why I said the fail-safe for the town is that Hack will dedicate 10 units to inclusionary housing.
Okay.
That's right away.
Right away. So the town has it. And as you pointed out, if those don't get built, those units remain in the inclusionary housing pool for the town. If they never get built, the town still has its 10 units in perpetuity. Now, again, the devil's in the details, and you're well aware of that. So the wording of any regulatory agreement would have to ensure compliance with the delivery of 10 units. It would have to ensure that 10 units will be with the town in perpetuity. And the bright part about this is that this potential of 40 units, even though it might not come to fruition in 3 to 5 years, she feels comfortable that at least 10 units.
And the 40 is what Hack has proposed.
40 is what Dan Ojala has put together in this sketch plan. Hack has to do their due diligence to vet this, to satisfy themselves that they're getting a win-win situation for themselves, where they're getting a parcel of land for nothing. They're getting the ability, potentially, to build up to 40 units. That
And they're getting the land for free.
and they're getting the land for free. I'll also mention, although that's not, I don't think it's anything that can go into the agreement, because who knows what is going to happen down the road. Mr. Bornstein has built a lot of units in town. He is, as a result of the fact that he's building constantly and rehabbing buildings constantly that he already owns, he is a supplier of many materials. So instead of going to a lumber yard, or instead of going somewhere to buy your product, he buys directly from the principals who produce these products. So for plywood, he goes to the manufacturer of the plywood instead of going through a middle person. So he's getting his materials lower. He's offered to work with Hack in terms of doing the construction, but like I said, that may or may not happen in the future. Who knows what will happen? And that was kind of an inviting offer on the part of Stuart's part. But the big thing is, they need to confirm that the development potential is what we say it is. And we think that they'll be able to do that within the next 60 to 90 days. So in terms of finalizing a regulatory agreement, in fairness to housing assistance, they need to do some of their due diligence. They love the concept. They like the idea that they'll have the ability to build 40 units downtown, within walking distance for many of the people that will inhabit the units that may not have the ability to live out in Marston's Mills or Katuitt or wherever. And the concept is creative. It's allowing a recognized and affirmed affordable housing developer basically take an RFP from the petitioner and a free piece of land to offset what the petitioner's requirements are, in this case, the 10 units. And the guarantee that you get, as I said, is you're gonna get the 10 units up front that they already own. They have multiple units, but they have 10 that they can give you right away and dedicate to the inclusionary
I
zone.
might wanna add, we could do more than 40. 40 was a comfortable number on here. This is the last big piece of land left in Hyannis, is what I'm told. It's a valuable piece of land. If we wanted to sell it to a developer who would pay us a good piece of change for it. But it wasn't about the money. I have the same problem. I got a couple hundred people that need housing. And housing's expensive. So I'm trying, and we do a lot with housing, more than is known. So this was a great way to take care of a lot of issues. And I think the timeline, even though the lawyer mentioned 3, I speak to Elisa weekly, and this is lawyer talk out to the world, but I think you'll see it shorter than that. I think a 2 or 3 year window is very reasonable. And the 10 you get right away, after they explain this, they like it, they'll work a deal with the town to give them the 10 units, you get that right away. I may not be able to, on 310, I can't get gas for that building till April. I may just have to lock it up and let it sit. There's gas already there.
I have a quick, statement. So, we are desperate in need of housing right now. 4 years seems a long time for us to wait. That's my thing. It's a beautiful thing to have the spot of land, and it's there. Wish it was gonna be able to develop in the next 5-6 months to start a project, to start something. But in the meantime, to wait 4 or 5 years, that's a very long stretch.
But understand, you're not waiting 4 to 5 years for the 10 substitute affordable units. Those will be given to you the day the regulatory agreement is approved. You'll get 10 units from housing assistance. They have 10 units in their inventory that they can give to inclusionary
It's
housing
a lot faster than anything I could do.
immediately. So that's why I said, the fail-safe for the town, and I understand your concerns, but the fail-safe for the town that they're gonna get their 10 units quickly is that the day that this thing gets approved, 10 affordable units get deed restricted.
On the same property,
No, on 10 different properties in the town. 10 different properties will be dedicated to the inclusionary zoning, inclusionary affordable inventory immediately.
How many units are in the 3 construction projects?
10.
No, I mean market rate units, not affordable units. Just, I
Oh,
don't know, you don't,
I didn't.
I know that's roughly 10%, so
Yeah,
like roughly
it's
100-ish.
10%, yeah.
So we're getting 100 new units, and then they're designated 10 other units affordable. So we are getting immediate housing bill.
Correct.
Yes.
To me, I mean, I think this is a great idea.
You
I
will
think
get the 40 because we've had a lot,
that is,
they
yeah,
love
an
the
extra
area.
chance for
They will
development.
build it. And I've had a lot of talks about building it. And we got lawyers, saying, well, we got this, we got that. But we got Lisa and her crew that wants the housing, and they want the housing now, because they need it as fast as they can get the money. They'll go ahead and build this. They've already talking about hiring an architect and working on this thing. Mike didn't get involved with that part of it, but I've had one-on-one conversation. I'm not to say 2 or 3 years is not unreasonable, but you get 10 right away, and eventually the 10 will shift over to a brand-new project. You'll have 40 at the end of the day.
Well, it's, you know, 2 or 3 years sounds like a long time, but as you know, Elton, from being on this committee, that developers, it takes years to get anything through the regulatory wickets that you need to get. But the 10 that you're saying would be available immediately.
The 10 will be dedicated
Is that just
immediately.
is that a grass piece of land that's dedicated, or is that,
No,
does that
10
have a house on it?
Yeah, it's 10 units.
okay.
It's 10
It's already
units.
built.
It's already built. Housing assistance has, people don't recognize the extent to which they
Yeah.
do this for the
This
community.
gets approved by everybody in 3 to 5 months, you can have the week after that, 10 units to do what you like with.
I know,
And
and
let's take, for example, right now, we've got 2 units already being rented over at the Times Building. We'll have to honor those tenancies because they exist, and if they overlap, if this were to get approved, let's say, shortly after the first of the year, and we had tenants already there, you would get 10 units immediately from HAC. We would honor the leases for the,
move-in ability.
yeah, move-in ability, or available for qualified applicants immediately.
Well, yeah.
But what would happen with us is we'd have to honor our leases, and what obviously we would try to do to protect the tenants that we have is to ease them into the 10 units that HAC is going to
Right.
dedicate. Because we'd want to protect the 2 people that we already have. We don't want to see them get hurt at all. And HAC, and I talked to
Well,
HAC's
you'd have
counsel
to,
about
if they
that.
have a lease, they have a lease.
Yeah, we'd honor the lease, but at the end of the lease, we don't want to say to them, you can't do this anymore. We want to be able to make sure that of the 10 units that HAC dedicates immediately, that we have the ability to take care of those 2 tenants. And the others are not occupied yet, so that's easier to deal with.
Okay. And,
Yeah, I think this is a great proposal and great use of land and to hit the qualifications that you need to hit and hopefully get extra construction built on top of that at some point down the road. Even if it is 3 to 5 years, it's undeveloped land right now, right?
It's undeveloped land.
So it could be developed land, and that's better than.
And the nice part is, it's not going out to a developer that's looking to make, 10, 15, 20% cap rate on a rental project. It's going to Housing Assistance Corporation that's very happy if they can place 40 families or tenants in there and make sure that they can afford it, they will, and as long as they can carry the units, that's what they do.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've been trying to use the Marston's Mills School.
This is a
for
beautiful
housing.
deal, let me tell you, this is a sweetheart, I mean, you got 40 units.
15 years.
You're getting almost a $3 million piece of property for 0. 2.8, we've had people bang us on it. So it's a beautiful piece of property, HAC gets a nice piece, and you get 40 more families that can own and rent right in the center of town, they don't need a car, they can walk. I don't know how many people that work for me that end up bicycling and carpooling 6 to a car. I employ 180 people, most of them all work in Hyannis. I love this, and I've got a selfish view of wanting to do it. Maybe some of my people will end up living in there.
Yeah.
So this is a big plus for a lot of different reasons.
what happened, I can tell you this.
The point is, I guess, that the development is not an easy thing nowadays. It's not to blame anybody, but it's,
But that's why we proposed the fail-safe, to give you 10 units immediately. That's why the fail-safe is in place. What's interesting is.
that sounds good, but
Yeah.
then the 40 is a regulatory agreement with a Housing Assistance Corp. They're gonna do that?
No, Housing Assistance Corp will have to go through a permitting process themselves.
Right,
And-
okay.
And they're good at it. I mean, they.
Oh, yeah.
They just hired their outside counsel to come inside, Mr. Brennan, and he's very skilled at putting together 40Bs.
Okay.
I represented HAC for 40-plus years, and I put together at least 10 40B projects for them, and got my head handed to me a few times from NIMBYs in different towns. But we managed to get a lot of affordable units done. The big problem that HAC has had recently, well, twofold. One is the cost of land, and the second one is the cost of construction. So we're taking the cost of land out of the equation by giving it to them. And Lisa will tell you that they've done a lot. I'm on a development committee for HAC, so I'm very familiar with what they need to do to build. They know how much it costs to build an affordable unit, and when you add the land cost in, it becomes prohibitive for a lot of developers. When you take the land cost out and you've got sewer and water there, it makes it possible for them to.
Are these gonna be rentals or ownership?
It's really gonna
Or
be
it's up to HAC?
It's up to HAC. Whatever they deem, they could do, I did the project up in Bourne on MacArthur Boulevard. That project was probably 100-plus units. We had 40 rental units, and the other were 40B ownership units. And it's blended in very nicely. I think it's been very successful. But HAC can be creative as to what they want to do. They might not follow this design, but they can see, at least on paper, that they've got the development potential of up to 40 units and maybe more. Again, I don't know what they want to do, but they'll have free land, that's the key.
You could get 60 on this, I'm not gonna tell you that. And the reason is, and I'll share it with you, I hope COMCOM isn't listening. There's some wetlands, we're 100 feet away from it.
You can see it on the plan.
And the wetland isn't wet, they put a cul-de-sac in to drain the road in a ditch, and it's wet here and there, and it really isn't wet. But where HAC is building affordable housing, I'm sure COMCOM could give them another 10 or 15 feet, which would give them another 20 or 30 units on top of that. Again, it's a major piece of land in the center of town, and I couldn't get that, but I think HAC could get it. And we know we can get 40 as it sits with all the setbacks. But if the setbacks can be moved and bent a little bit, we've already been through COMCOM, we've got everything signed off by COMCOM already. We've done all our homework, this is ready to be sold to a developer. But we came up with this idea, because I've had a lot of meetings with HAC, and to me, it's a win-win deal. I mean, it truly is. The town's gonna get 40 units, and it's gonna make it affordable. They're saving the cost of $60,000, $80,000 a permit. Take it right off the top. Right off the top.
Because it's a charity.
Because the land is free.
Nobody gives them a piece of land like that. They give them a lot they can't build on. Nobody gives you a lot like this. I have given away 40 or 50 lots to the Audubon Society, and they end up selling them 5 years later, which is okay, because but I'm just saying to you that this is you don't get to see this. I've owned this land for 30 years. I paid taxes on it. I think I bought it originally for $340,000. Yeah, and there's 2 pieces to it, and I've been paying taxes every year for 30 years. Take the money carried, it probably cost me more than it would be worth today with all the carrying on it, but I'm not looking at it that way. It's a nice piece of land.
In terms of our timetable, we have to have HAC's full commitment to this. And we have their general commitment at this point. They, in talking to their council, they're gonna be taking a closer look at this over the next 30, 60 days. So we're gonna refine our application. What we're looking for today is feedback like we got from Evan, that the concept and the idea is creative, it seems to be workable, the town doesn't lose a thing over it, they get their 10 affordable units, and perhaps if this thing, when and if this thing gets developed fully, you'll have Housing Assistance Corporation developing a potentially 40-plus units in the town.
Sounds like
No,
it may
no,
be
no cost to the town.
sounds like it may be a win-win for everybody. See any negatives?
Yeah, I don't I don't see a negative. It seems like it's either, you know, we get what we get or we have a lot of upside. It seems like a lot of upside. I know this isn't a vote, you're gonna go through the whole process and everything today, but if this came to me with the approval of HAC, then it's something I would definitely support the town doing.
And I will tell you, I mean, let's be candid about it, your input is important. I mean, you provide a lot of guidance to the town on housing. And I can tell by Hilda's comments that she's very protective of the inclusionary units, that she doesn't wanna see any go. The town loses nothing, they keep their 10 inclusionary units, and the potential is that they'll get 30 plus more units of either workforce or affordable. And again, one of the reasons we came to you first is because we recognize your importance as a committee, and we also recognize that when we take this to the planning board, it would be important to have this vetted with you and have your input, so.
I'll ask a question through the chair to Attorney Princey. The 10 units, and I'll speak from observation. The arrangement with HAC, I don't think would be the same thing as an arrangement with the town. So if we were talking about the 10 units that would be given to the town on behalf of HAC, that would be the exchange. In other words, that's an exchange between two partners.
That's right.
So I think looking at those 10 units as something that HAC would be giving to the town, the arrangement between you and HAC is not something that the town would be involved in. Am I correct?
It would not be, but I think as part of the regulatory agreement, I think the design and the proposal has to be laid out.
To show how that's.
To show how it's being done.
I see.
You're right, and from a very simple perspective, we come in looking for a waiver of 10, and we tell you that a third party is going to dedicate those 10. Our arrangement with HAC is one that we've committed to, and it's gonna be carried out. The only tweak is that HAC, as they build these, will be looking to get back their 10, give 10, and then continue their development here.
So I'm just, stop me if I'm asking too many questions, but
No.
with the 10 units, if the 10 units are allocated by HAC,
Yeah.
I think that would be the piece that the town would be most interested in, sort of like what those 10 units are. Because that's the piece that's gonna be deed restricted for a period of time, correct?
Right.
Is that- and then the duration of those, would that be terminating if the other units are built, or?
If the other units are built, 10 units from the new construction would be dedicated to the inclusionary as a substitute. Now, I haven't run this by town council,
Yeah,
and Corey, I think, is thinking to himself, I think we may wanna run this by town council. Because
Yeah, I
it
think-
might be that we need another regulatory agreement at that point to have that done, I don't know.
I think the committee needs to consider that the project that they're proposing is kind of inconsequential.
Yeah.
It's really, you're looking at the swap of land. And the subcommittee that reviews regulatory agreements, Hilda, you're on that committee. And you reviewed a few different options that Shoestring Properties had proposed, and one was a swap for land. And then also 10 units at 310 Barnstable Road.
Yes.
Or provide the units on site as required. So I think that's kind of where the planning department's coming from, is really those 3 different options is what we're looking at. So at this point, this HAC project, well, it sounds great, but it's something we are looking at is really the land. So that's kind of what you have to take into consideration at this point.
So you're saying that the regulatory agreement should include that commitment to convey the land?
Correct.
Yeah, that I agree.
So, and then, so I think from Jim's perspective is that the land comes into ownership by the town, and the town has to to dispose of the land, we have to go through a master planning process that figures out the different types of uses for this land for housing, and then that is then put to an RFP, and then that goes out to bid from different developers.
I think that's
So,
wrong.
I
No.
mean, that's.
If you,
that-
if you're gonna,
I-
if
well,
HAC is
I'm
gonna
telling-
give you 10
I'm telling you from where the
units,
perspective of the planning department is that the town has to dispose of the land in a way, and has to go out to RFP.
If
No,
the town
we're-
accepted the land.
If
Yeah,
the
but-
town accepts the land, so,
But
but this is something
That's-
town council has to approve.
Right.
no, but hold on one second. We're not proposing that we convey the property to the town, that's, I said in the
Right,
beginning.
that's what's so unique about what you're
That's
talking
why this
about,
is-
and I'm
That's why
trying
this is
to-
creative, that we're looking to make a commitment within the regulatory agreement to convey it to a recognized, well-known, affordable housing development company that's dedicated to that. And to guarantee it, this HAC, the development company, is going to give you 10 units. So you're gonna get those up front. That's the key to it. So it's 10 for 10. We're getting 10 back. We are arranging to have 10 given. Now, I think Hildy said it, that the or Evan maybe, that the part that involves HAC, I think that the commitment to convey to HAC has gotta be in the proposed regulatory agreement, because that shows the added feature to this, the creative feature to it. And then Housing Assistance Corporation, I mean, I don't think the regulatory agreement can put a time limit on them, but generally speaking, I was telling you that they need some time to develop some units. And when they do develop them, they would like to get back the 10 that they've given, and then they're gonna go, continue on and do more. But I think that's gonna have to be a separate regulatory agreement at the time.
Am I missing something here? If Mr. Bornstein owns the property and wants to deed it to anybody, what interest does the town have in that?
That's where I think
If it
that's
goes to
my
HAC,
thought.
Then HAC would have to come
But
to
it's
the
a-
town for the permitting, master plan, et cetera, et cetera.
But he owes,
But it
he owes
doesn't
the
seem
10
that
units to
that
the
should
town.
stop it in the first place, that
We're trying to figure out a way to get the 10 units that are required by the ordinance.
So what I really think we should truly do, we're not against any of this proposal, it's a bright idea, but have HAC here at our next meeting to see where they're at, how we gonna make this arrangement and how it's gonna work for us, the people, the units. We need clear information and how we're gonna be doing this.
Sure, I think you take the proposal under advisement, and we'll see how the process shakes out in terms of how the regulatory agreement is formed further in the future, and then we'll see what happens when a formal application is then submitted.
Okay.
does the town have any concern with HAC's sustainability or ability to carry through?
I'm not speaking on behalf of the town, but what I could say is that what the town, I think, would be most interested in is the arrangement between those swap of units.
Yeah.
So if the arrangement between Mr. Bornstein or his company and HAC is not the same thing as an arrangement between the town and either Mr. Bornstein or HAC, because it's three parties. But if Mr. Bornstein has an arrangement with HAC, that's one thing.
Yeah.
So, but if the town, if
But I mean,
HAC,
just a deed to HAC, how is there any obligation?
I think Julian's correct on that, by the way, too. the town's interest is getting 10 for 10.
That's exactly right. I guess from the perspective of what we do with affordable housing, we are looking for deed restricted units to ensure that they are maintained as affordable. So if HAC has units that are already affordable, that's not quite the same thing. And the other thing would be if they were only dedicated for a short term, that would not be the same thing.
I thought we had at 10 now, not hack properties, but 10
No, 10.
affordables now.
Yeah, 10 units that are
So,
not,
I think
not
we're-
now in the inclusionary system. 10 new units will be given to the town. When I say new, I mean,
And you can deed
Are
restrict
you
those
confusing
10.
with the 40, with the hack already has 10?
like, actually.
So that there'll only be 30 new ones or something?
Well, I guess what, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, but what you were proposing is that HAC would allocate 10 existing units
Yes,
that are not currently affordable.
that's right.
So then the town, if we were accepting a deed
Accepting.
restriction,
10 for 10.
so the issue there is then, are they allocating those units to the town? Because the town, again, doesn't really wanna manage units. If they're allocating just the deed restriction to the town, then, in other words, if they're incorporating a new deed restriction on property that isn't currently deed restricted, the town certainly has an interest in that because it makes it affordable. So I guess, but that's a different situation than land and development and.
Yeah.
No, actually, Corey, when you said a few things, I think that I did say that HAC, when it does develop, would be looking to get back their 10 and give you a brand new 10 and then develop more. But that would be a story for another day, in my view. And I don't think, and I'll check with town council, but I don't think it can be incorporated into I think we're gonna have trouble incorporating it into a development agreement. Because we've gotta give you 10 for 10.
Right.
That's the key to it, and I think you're right. And
I would say a minimum of 10, but that's just me, I'm with my affordable
I
housing
know,
cats.
I know. But the minimum of 10, when you see everything else that's being done, and I think that if advising Stuart, I would say that the deed to HAC would be a deed restricted, or have some type of reverter, where if HAC, for any reason, as you said, if they are not sustainable to develop it, that it comes back, and then Stuart has the ability to deed it to the town or deed it to somebody who will build affordable housing. But that commitment will remain.
So the town would have a reversionary interest in the property? It would just come back automatically, or?
I think, well, the reverter could run back to Stuart, could run, you already have 10 units, so you're covered. You have the 10 units from HAC, but the reverter could potentially go back to the town, could potentially go back to Stuart.
Should we not have a representative from HAC,
Yeah, we
you know,
need,
at the next meeting?
Yeah, and that's what Hilda
Oh.
yeah,
suggested, so.
because we wanna
You
be
know.
clear, and we wanna make sure we understand, nothing against the idea.
No.
It's all positive, because anything added is a plus, but we just wanna make sure that what we are doing and the intentions go with what is being said and what needs to be done. And if there's something down the road that ever happened, how we would deal with the situation.
And that was the purpose of this meeting, to vet this and talk about it, so. And the devil is in the details.
What
you-
had happened, so I missed the last meeting, but I got somebody know. On Barnstable Road, the units over there,
Yeah.
what has happened with those units that originally that we were planning?
Well, right now,
Use it.
we're having trouble getting utilities. We learned today that we won't get a gas main till March or April, maybe longer. So we have a small gas line in there. We may run 8, 10 units. We just may not do anything, just shut the building down, literally. So it's, apparently the town's big on electrifying everything, but when you want gas, they got one guy in New England, literally, that can weld pipe. That's what I'm told. It gets approved by the gas company. So right now, the ones we're gonna finish those in about a month, but we may not be able to occupy them till early spring, maybe sooner. And that goes into a lottery, which is an advertising fee, which can take another 6 to 8 months, if longer. At least when housing has them, somehow or other, they bypass the lottery. And believe it or not, they can take local residents. We don't have a choice. I don't mind telling you, we had a very bad drug scene in one of the affordable units. I gotta take it apart and rebuild it. Police came in and took her out. I had another one, one that we did as a favor for the town of Yarmouth or somebody. They died this week, died. Crime scene. So, I mean, I got problems, and I'm not happy about it.
Madam Chair, what date would you propose for a future meeting? And I will do my best to bring a representative of HAC with us. While we have everybody here.
What do we think that now? What do you think, Cory?
Would we'd wanna wait till they have vetted the proposal too and do both?
I don't think we need to do that, but I think we need to have them here to talk generally on the sequence, how things would happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And how we would put it together so that it's beneficial to everybody. You know, that whatever arrangement that needs to be made, we wanna make sure we're doing it correctly, and how the town would do it. We wanna make sure everything is in place.
Set a time and I'll be here.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, is that,
Tuesday?
it's October 1st? Same time, same station?
Next Tuesday
So
will be
what
okay
day are
for
we
me.
talking about?
Tuesday, October 1st.
I'm trying to think. I think that should be fine for me, yeah.
Okay. Tuesday, October 1st.
Oh, and I know you're all volunteers, so thank you.
Same time, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
5 o'clock's good. What day? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Tuesday, the 1st of October.
October
1st.
4th?
First.
1.
October 3rd is Thursday.
1st. October 1st.
All right. 1?
1.
1.
That wasn't easy.
See, these military guys have been around too many tanks shooting off loud noises.
October 1. That's pretty tight. Is there, I know we have to have the agenda, published on the board downstairs and on the email.
It'll be another informal review. If it does happen, it's going to be an
This is just a
informal,
continuation of today's meeting, so
essentially, yes.
it's not like we're gonna discuss anything new.
You need a 48-hour.
You'll have housing assistance here, and I think we'll begin to reformulate.
That'd be great. I think they have, that
Based upon-
everyone has questions about, from them.
The comments, so.
Okay, same place, same conference room?
Well, not sure yet, we'll have to figure that out.
We may have to schedule a
Okay,
different
well,
room, it
you
just
come
depends
get me,
what's available.
whatever conference room there is, you come get me like you did today,
We'll let
thank you.
know.
Alright.
Thanks for everybody for showing up.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Barnstable, and thank you for continually working and providing housing to our committee.
All right,
No, I think you
No,
still have.
we got some more
Well, we're not done.
How, yeah, do we know how long the rest of we started 30 minutes late, I was hoping to make it home for bedtime.
Yeah.
Carry this
Thank you
over.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's right, we have a few other things.
I mean, the board, you know, the committee,
You guys decide.
you guys can decide if you wanna
Can we
Go over the
continue
minutes.
push some of the other items to our next meeting? I don't,
Sure,
Just-
whatever, yeah.
with that, I don't mean to be,
No, it's fine.
I was hoping to put my daughter to bed tonight for
Do you,
this.
do you need to vote your minutes or?
Yes.
We can approve the minutes from last time, that's a
Yeah.
quick thing.
Approval of the minutes for May 29, 2024. Remove that, minutes be, approved, please.
Do we need a motion or do you need a second? I was
Need a
getting confused.
motion.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
We're
Second.
trying to approve the minutes, our last minutes.
I'm sorry.
The
I
minutes.
don't have my hearing aids.
The minutes from the last meeting.
Oh.
I move to approve the
I
minutes.
second that
Okay.
motion.
Thank you.
And all in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So our next meeting date is October 1st at 5 p.m. We'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out.